So today, US President Donald Trump and Chinese President Xi Jinping will sit down for their first in-person summit since Trump took office January 20th. So going into the summit, there are really three core issues on the table. The first, and I think from the Trump administration's perspective, most important issue is how to manage North Korea's nuclear weapons development program. The second major issue is the U.S.-China trade relationship. And there, this goes to the Trump administration's sort of overriding interest in addressing or even correcting the U.S.'s sort of perennial trade deficits with China. And in particular, what the Trump administration sees as China's unfair trade practices that have produced these deficits. And then the third core issue on the table is the status of Taiwan and the U.S.-Taiwan relationship and how that plays into this broader question of the sustenance and future of the one China policy. So beginning with North Korea, here the core issue really is that over the last several years, North Korea has made substantial progress in developing a fully fledged nuclear deterrent against the U.S. In the past, North Korea viewed its nuclear weapons development program as by and large sort of a bargaining chip, as a tool for extracting concessions from China, from the U.S., from other regional players. So going into this summit, the Trump administration really is zeroed in on doing everything it can to get China to use its considerable leverage over the North Korean regime to stall or even compel North Korea to dismantle its nuclear weapons development program. Now, the Trump administration has signaled that if China is unwilling to cooperate, unwilling to take action on North Korea, then the U.S. will consider unilateral action, up to and including some kind of military response to North Korea. And that would either be to dismantle the country's nuclear weapons infrastructure or even possibly to decapitate or remove the regime. But it's important to understand that from the Trump administration's perspective, any kind of military action in North Korea is very much a last resort. Not least because it would likely result in a humanitarian and political crisis of historic proportions. So with that in mind, the Trump administration is going into this meeting with Xi Jinping, ready to do everything they can to get China to make a move on North Korea. And knowing this, China will do what it can to parlay its leverage on North Korea into extracting concessions from the Trump administration on other issues. First and foremost, to compel the U.S. to dial back, limit, or even withdraw the deployment of missile defense systems in North Korea and Japan. Additionally, China may seek to utilize its leverage on North Korea to compel the Trump administration to soften its tone on unfair Chinese trade practices, which China will also try to pepper that deal with offers of investment packages, opening up domestic Chinese sectors to U.S. investment or U.S. exports, and things like that. And then finally, China is going to try to use its influence over North Korea as a means to secure some sort of greater affirmation from the Trump administration that the U.S. will adhere to the one China policy, and maybe even to translate that into concrete moves like dialing back some of the U.S.'s proposed arms sales to Taiwan. So these are really the three core issues on the table during Trump and Xi Jinping's summit today and tomorrow. And it's important to keep in mind that in many ways, these are highly complex issues, and they're issues that also, will inevitably become intertwined with each other. So it's important not to expect too much actual progress to come from this particular meeting. In many ways, I think that this summit is, primarily about setting the stage for open and stable communication between both sides going forward.